It's time to open up the floor and talk some Niners football with all of you. Gonna take questions from the faithful heading into Niners Jags here in week 4. We're doing a 49ers Report mailbag. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. So glad all of you are hanging out here with me. And by the time that you watch this video, I hope all of you out there are having a fantastic weekend. I do want to begin here. Subscribe to the channel for elite Niners shows that come your way every single day on YouTube, but also we go live for every single Niners game. And the real ones say it's the best place to experience a Niners game day outside of being at the actual game. And we routinely go over 100,000 views for all of our watch parties. So join us Sunday, Niners, Jags, Levi's Stadium, week 4 matchup, a sneaky good matchup between two really solid teams through 3 weeks. Lock us in, hit that sub button. And don't forget also to turn on your notifications by hitting that bell icon, select all. Therefore, anytime we push out a video like this, anytime we go live, you will be notified. Let's begin with this one from Solaris MC. Great to see there's urgency in this Niners team this year compared to last year. 2 big late drives. They've closed 2 games out. Where was that last year? Solaris, let me one-up you. San Francisco has closed the first 3 games out. If you think about it, Brock Purdy had to engineer that game-winning drive week 1 against Seattle, and then Nick Bosa had the fumble forced and pressure on Sam Darnold. Ball game, blouses, sayonara, take care Seahawks fans. What a win for San Francisco on the road. Week 2, the Niners go on the road with Mac Jones, a backup at quarterback. He plays pretty well, but then the Niners able to close the game out defensively against New Orleans. Second to last drive, Nick Bosa had that huge sack when it was a 1-score game. And then the final drive of the game, Bryce Huff with that explosive, twitchy get-off, got into the backfield in an instant, strip sack of Spencer Rattler. Week 3, the Niners defense holds against Arizona, and Mac Jones engineers that beautiful game-winning drive called by Kyle Shanahan, especially with that screen pass to Christian McCaffrey. Eddie Pinheiro at the buzzer. Eddie Pinheiro became Eddie Dinero. And so the Niners have been able to come through with 3 one-score victories, all of those games literally coming down to the final seconds. And I don't think the Niners win those games last year. And I think in 2024, coming off that heartbreaking, crushing Super Bowl defeat, that took a physical toll, and also they had a shorter offseason. When you lose a game of that magnitude the way that the Niners did, it takes a mental toll as well. I thought last year San Francisco was physically, mentally, and spiritually fragile and broken. And instead of finding ways to win, they found so many ways to lose. And they lost so many close games for a variety of reasons. And so that's a reason why I think Niner fans are so excited about this year. And maybe San Francisco isn't a Super Bowl team, right? But you were seeing the future of the Niners take place with all of the young players on this team. And that is great news for Niner fans. That is something to be very excited about. El Grillo 420. I know a lot of people in California like the digits 420. $2 super chat. Do you hear the new update about Nick Bosa? So Bosa, surgery Friday. It is a clean ACL tear, and we'll see when he's able to come back. Now, according to Dr. Nirav Pandya, when you have a second ACL repair in the same knee, which is the case for Bosa, he has 3 ACL reconstruction surgeries in total. Sometimes that recovery timeline is actually longer because you're dealing with more scar tissue in there. And so that's a negative. The plus is that it's as clean of a tear as it gets with the anterior cruciate ligament. And I would imagine Bosa is going to be out for the next 9 to 12 months. And it stinks. Other players are going to have to step up, like Mykel Williams and Bryce Huff. Maybe the Niners make a trade going into the deadline, but there is no replacing 97. The guy's a really, really special and elite player. And for people out there also to say he deserved it because of his political affiliations, you're ridiculous. And you should never wish upon an injury on somebody. That is so cold-hearted and that is so stupid that some people think in that manner. I feel for Nick Bosa. I hope he gets well and back on the field soon. I'm rooting for him to get back to his Nick Bosa form. He's an exceptional player. And for those of you also who rip where he is on the political aisle, you understand that his teammates have voted him a team captain the last several years because of the person that he is, right? And that is what matters. He's a great teammate. He's a great professional. He's a great football player. And unfortunately for him, he's suffered now 3 ACL injuries. He's suffered a lot of injuries in his career. The guy loves the game of football, and you could see the pain and anguish in his face. How upset that he was because he knew it right away that he tore his ACL. He knew right away he was going to be out for the rest of the year, and he was crushed. You want players for the team that you root for to care. And Nick Bosa, he cares a lot. John Wallace, would you start Mac Jones or Brock Purdy? Knowing it's a short week going up against the Rams and to save any kind of possible entry, knowing our history of events. Look, I've said this on the show. Anytime a Niners player is injured, we always have PTSD, right? And it's crazy for San Francisco. The injury history that they have, top 10 in injury rate every year under Kyle Shanahan since 2017, except for 2023. But what's also so crazy about it, we get these reports that sometimes are positive, and then these players end up being out for weeks, the season, and their injuries are so much worse than we originally anticipated. Now, going into week 4 against Jacksonville, this Jags defense, one of the top units in the NFL. If Brock Purdy is healthy, I would play him. If he's not, I would play Mac Jones. The Niners have shown that they can win with Mac Jones, that he can play well for Kyle Shanahan, that he can run this offense and execute it at a very high level. And so it really all comes down to that. If I'm Purdy, if I'm the Niners, don't risk re-injury. Joe Burrow is out until December because he had a worse form of turf toe. Brock Purdy lucky to just miss a couple of weeks. But judging by how he looked at practice this week, I think Purdy does play. If he can't, Mac Jones did re-injure his knee on Sunday against the Cardinals. He too has practiced this week, and so it looks as though he'd be able to play. Brent Smith, Nick Bosa is our best and most valuable player. How will the team make up for Bosa's absence? See, I disagree with that because I don't think he's more valuable than Fred Warner. Fred Warner is the conductor of this Niners defense. Fred Warner is the engine that makes this Niners defense go. And he elevates everybody else around him. What's crazy about Fred Warner's career, not only that he's on a Hall of Fame track, that he's one of the best defensive players in the game, a generational linebacker for an organization that has had great linebackers, it's his durability. Fred Warner, everybody knock on wood, has missed one game in his entire career. Last year, he had a broken bone in his ankle in week 4. He did not miss another game. Even when the season was over in week 18, Fred Warner against Arizona still started and still played. The guy is an Iron Man. The guy is a consummate pro. He's a phenomenal leader, but he is the best player on defense. You lose him, your second level becomes more leaky. He's going to help make up for the loss of Bosa because of everything that he can do at the first 2 levels of the defense. I would say Fred Warner is more valuable and better than Nick Bosa. He's also been more durable, which factors into that conversation. Now, how do you make up for Bosa's absence? You're going to have to blitz a little bit more. The secondary is going to have to hold up. You're going to have to get creative with personnel usage, like using Jair Brown at big nickel hybrid linebacker a little bit more. You're going to have to run some twist stunts and gains to just try to get free runs and free hits on the quarterback to generate a pass rush. And other players are going to have to elevate. Robert Saleh's going to have to put them in a position to succeed. Not going to be easy. There's no replacing Nick Bosa. Today's poll question is this: do the Niners need to make a trade after the Bosa injury? I think they're going to gauge to see where this Niners defense is at, and then they'll act maybe on a trade coming up here in a few weeks. Type yes, type no. More of your questions coming up on the other side. But today's San Francisco 49ers report is brought to you by Prize Picks. I love using Prize Picks. It is the #1 fantasy sports app. You can win big up to 2,000 times your money. And look, you and I make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. It's very simple to play and easy to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports all across America. They put their users first. All withdrawals, fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. The best place to win cash while watching sports. Join the millions of users and sign up today. Our 3-pick power play for week 4. The special from Prize Picks. They always have a special every week. Be on the lookout for that. Jalen Hurts more than a half passing yard. He's obviously going to throw for 1 or more passing yards. Christian McCaffrey. He's top 15 in receiving yards this year. Christian McCaffrey, more than 42.5 receiving yards. Travis Hunter, more than 35.5 receiving yards. Download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Rick Claessens. Will Ricky Pearsall be ready to play on Sunday? Thank you, Chase, from the Netherlands for the daily shows. Man, it is so cool to me how people watch this program from all around the world, and it goes to show you how popular the Niners as an organization are and is. My theory for that, when the NFL really started to gain traction and popularity was in the 1980s, the 1990s. Well, what was the team of the 80s? It was the San Francisco 49ers. And so when the NFL just started to become very popular, the Niners were the best team. And naturally, a lot of people gravitated toward the Niners. California, also a massive state. But San Francisco has an iconic brand, iconic logo. They're so marketable, and they've had great teams over the years. So that's why they have such a worldwide fan base. As for Ricky Pearsall, keep in mind, this video is going to come out over the weekend. I'm recording this show on Thursday, September 25th. Ricky Pearsall did say on Wednesday, if there were a game today, I would play. If Pearsall can't play, and how about the start that he's off to? Number 3 in receiving yards going into Thursday Night Football. Number 1 in air receiving yards. Number 1 in contested receiving yards. Going back to last year, his last 5 games, he's gone over the century mark in 3 of them. He's been fantastic. The Niners needed him to take a leap. The leap has happened. If he can't play, though, looks like Jauan Jennings is going to be able to play. Kendrick Bourne has been awesome for this team. Demarcus Robinson is coming back, and they'll be able to survive without Pearsall. But obviously, you want to see the continued development for him. You want to see the rapport that him and Purdy can continue to build on and build off of after what they did in week 1. Looks to be a dog and a special player. Jeannie Wyatt, always representing for the faithful ladies. If you're a faithful lady, meaning you're a woman who likes watching the 49ers and the 49ers report, type faithful lady down in the chat. When will we see Nick Martin play? That is a fantastic question. And some people have been baffled by him being inactive the first 3 weeks because they're like, well, can he play special teams? He can, and he did that at Oklahoma State. I think the thought process here for the Niners, we saw in the preseason the upside that he has. But you saw in the preseason him miss a lot of plays. He's a little bit raw. He's also a little bit smaller. But everything that we've seen from D. Winters is what we saw from Nick Martin. And D. Winters early in his career looked like Nick Martin did in the preseason. Game a little bit too fast, unable to throttle down, over pursuing on plays, being overly aggressive, missing tackles, missing assignments. But the wow plays certainly wowed us, right? There's no doubt in my mind that Nick Martin is going to be a really, really good linebacker. I just don't think the Niners trust him yet. Also, keep in mind, he didn't play a lot last year because he was injured, and so that may have stunted his development a little bit. Anthony Hernandez, how is Christian McCaffrey holding up after last year's injury? Great. Christian McCaffrey's touches are insane to start the year. I'm going to pull those up here impromptu because you asked. So far to start the year, he has 52 carries for 176 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. That's not as much him as it is the offensive line. But 52 carries of the football. He has 25 catches. So through 3 games so far, McCaffrey has 77 touches. Now, 77 touches through 3 games. In 2023, for instance, when he won Offensive Player of the Year, he had 272 carries and 67 catches. He already has 25 grabs. He's top 15 in receiving yards. And I think he's looked awesome. He's responded very well. Like Bosa, he's always going to take great care of his body, but sometimes the body will just neglect you. That's a game of football as well. But it's great that McCaffrey has been healthy, upright, and durable to start the year. Hopefully that continues because he's a joy to watch. He's one of one, and he's a really special player. It's Mito. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it sounded good. Thoughts on Demarcus Robinson playing on Sunday? Demarcus Robinson, an under-the-radar, underrated free agency acquisition for the Niners. They got him at a really cheap price tag over the next 2 years. Last year with the Rams, I thought that when Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp missed time, he stepped in very nicely and had a very productive season. He averaged more than 16 yards per catch. He's a big body who can make plays downfield despite his lack of speed. He had over 500 yards. He also had a good amount of touchdowns too. And so he was really relied upon by Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay a lot. He had 7 touchdowns last year. He's been a winning player every year that he's been in the NFL. His teams have made the playoffs. In the preseason, he looked really good. Throughout training camp, he looked awesome. And so this is going to be a great addition to the Niners receiving core following that 3-game suspension for that DUI arrest last November. Black Mask. Why can't all of our players be like Fred and play with fractures? Fred is a machine. Unfortunately for a guy like Nick Bosa, not a fracture. It's a torn ligament, and you can't play with a torn ligament. I know quarterbacks sometimes will play with torn ACLs, Phillip Rivers, Curtis Rourke, and others, but when you're a twitchy pass rusher, you just can't do it. Plus, he wouldn't be the same guy. Then if he got ACL surgery after the year, he'd be out much of next year. Whereas he gets it now, got it on Friday, or he's getting it on Friday. You know, he's got a chance to be back for the start of last year. But yeah, it is pretty wild, right? Like, that just has to come down to genetics, being able to be durable as football players. Some people are really injury prone. Some players are not. Some players can play through a lot of pain and injuries. Other players cannot. Every body is different. So, yeah, I wish everybody could be like Fred Warner. Because if the Niners didn't suffer from so many injuries, they'd be so much better off. All right, who you got in this game? JAC for Jacksonville, SF for the San Francisco 49ers. It's a sneaky good one here in Week 4. Get those predictions in. And as always, thanks for watching the show.